Desert Diaries.
G'day from down under again. Well, what a week it has been. It's safe to say at times it has been absolutely awful. My mum did come out of surgery and my phone rang and there was a doctor on the end asking me if I was on my own. I said, yeah. He said, is there someone who can come and sit with you before I tell you what I need to tell you? Well, I looked around the near empty hospital cafe where I'd been sitting for the last 7 hours, knowing I was nearly 10,000 miles away from my family, and I took a deep breath and said, no, not really. So I arranged to meet him 4 floors down through a maze of hospital corridors near the theatre, and as you've probably already guessed, the news wasn't good. Briefly, we'd kind of hoped the lung cancer hadn't spread, so that Mum could have a major operation to take part of her lung out and it would be gone. But it has, to the point they can't operate and they can't cure it. And due to lots of other reasons I won't go into, time's suddenly something we're really aware of. The next 3 hours, however, lasted forever as I waited in a corridor for Mum to come out of recovery where she was having some complications, knowing that it was me who had to tell her that news. There are no words, really. So, as I'm sure you can imagine, the next few days passed in a blur of shock and grief and can best be described as being completely overwhelming. But, you know, taking a walk every morning along the coastal pathways near Iluka, the suburb of Perth, hearing the waves crash next to me, feeling the spray and tasting the salt in the air, how could I not feel so lucky? We all face difficult and challenging and downright devastating times in our life, and yet here I was, in one of the most beautiful places on the planet. So, I had an idea. Now, the last time I was in Western Australia, remember, I followed that boy. I took a trip which pretty much changed my outlook on life. Up the west coast, through tiny, semi-populated towns, over thousands of kilometres. I stayed in communities that hardly ever saw tourists and met people I never ever would have had the chance to meet. So I thought, OK, well, I don't have months to do anything quite like that, and we know Mum's palliative chemotherapy is going to start soon, but why not do something that's going to make us both feel alive? So on Wednesday, after an OK from Mum's doctor, I took a train into Perth and then a taxi out to an industrial estate, and I picked up Bruce. Not an original name, I know, but he's our camper van. And we loaded him up with food and a few clothes and many beers, and we set off. Compass set north. I drove for absolutely hours on that first night, passing loads of huge 36-metre-long road trains, massive multiple trailer lorries which at night are lit up like huge Christmas trees, but not much else on the road. And we woke up this morning in Geraldton, 250 yards from the sea, on a blustery campsite, and watched the sun come up over the Indian Ocean with a cup of tea brewed in our little van. Today we drove past dramatic limestone cliffs that rose up out of turquoise seas and a bright bubblegum pink lake called Hutt Lagoon. It's crazy. If you're socially media minded, do come and find me on Twitter or on Instagram, as I'm posting loads of pictures of our Up Yours Lung Cancer road trip. Tomorrow we're driving north again, heading for a tiny town that's the closest place to paradise I have ever been, Coral Bay. I'll see you down under.
A really big thank you again for all your messages on social media. I really appreciate any feedback you can give me about the podcast. I will attempt to make those episodes a bit longer for you as time goes on. And again, a review or a rating means a lot. But I really hope you're enjoying it. If you are, if you can just tell your friends, your colleagues, your family, I'd love it if more people gave the podcast a listen. And I know my mum loves getting feedback from you as well. She reads my Twitter timeline every day. So any messages you'd like to send to her, she will absolutely see them. Thanks so much.